welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are doing the final part of the Christmas in July tag series. This is part 4. I encourage you to go check out the other 3 videos. I did one every Tuesday in the month of July, and so this is the final part. So right here I have some vellum. This I purchased from Amazon eons ago. I don't even know what brand it is or the thickness of it. I have no clue, but any vellum will work. I cut it off into little sections and made sure that there was like a square corner so that when I go to heat emboss this, I have a easier time setting it into my stamp positioning tool. My color selection came from the Color Cube Volume 1. This is card number 448. I just kind of wanted a untraditional color scheme for Christmas. Sometimes I like to do that. I get kind of bored with red and green. That's just me, but so that's the color scheme I went with, and I just had some Paper Studio cardstock that I felt really matched those colors fairly well. Here I have the Glistening Snowflakes stamp and die set from Simon Says Stamp, and then I showed you the Altenew All Occasions sentiment, or all Altenew holiday tag sentiment set. I've used that quite a bit in this series. We are going to be doing some heat embossing. I have my VERSAMARK ink and some gold Ranger and superfine detail embossing powder. I also have these grommets and brads and eyelets and all that stuff. These are a combination of Paper Studio and Amazon, and then I have my CROP-A-DILE from We Are Memory Keepers. I went ahead and did some die cutting off screen. I went ahead and die cutted, woo, that's terrible grammar, folks. Die cut some scraps of that Paper Studio cardstock and using the coordinating die from that Glistening Snowflakes stamp set. And can I just say that Christina Werner is something amazing, because I think she is the one that designed that set and like drew all of these beautiful snowflakes. She is incredible. I love her. If you don't know who she is, you're missing out. Christina Werner on YouTube. Check her out. She is one in a million. So because I am doing some heat embossing, I did set that particular stamp set into my little mini Misty here. I have treated my vellum with some anti-static powder, and then I'm going to stamp this twice with VERSAMARK ink. I didn't necessarily need to stamp it twice, but I did it anyway, just mainly out of habit. What I'm showing you here is that in order for this stamp to keep its shape, there is a photopolymer material throughout that entire image. And I was trying to be careful to make sure I didn't get any VERSAMARK ink on that middle section. And it turns out I didn't really need to worry about that. Because it is open and I'm not stamping anything else in the middle there, I could just easily brush anything that stuck there with a dry brush and gotten it off. I didn't end up having any issues with it, and I didn't push super hard because I didn't want to blur the lines of these fine snowflakes, but I did apply a bit of pressure, and I didn't have any trouble with there being extra ink on any of those, on that center section. So here I just have a coffee filter to catch the excess ink, and I'm sprinkling on some Ranger Gold Superfine Detail Embossing Powder. And I'm going to repeat this for all 5 of my pieces of vellum here. I'm going to make 5 tags today, and so I have 5 pieces of vellum, and I'm just going to repeat that step on all 5, and then I'm going to go through and heat set this. So I made sure my heat tool was super, super, super hot, and as you can see, this gold embossing powder melts really, really fast on vellum. Something to note, I ended up, if you saw here, I kind of had it leaning against the edge of my Misty, and it heated really fast. Here I'm showing you that what happens when you overheat your vellum, it bubbles. Like there's literally like a bubble in there. I'm not going to worry about it. You can see it in one of the final tags, but again, I'm not going to worry about it. These are a tag. Typically, tags get chucked and thrown away. So I try not to spend an incredible amount of time on the tag, unless I'm hoping that they will use it as like a keepsake. And then I will spend a little more time and be a little more concerned about things like that. So I went through and heat set all of those, and then I'm just layering these on top of these colored tags now, or these colored backers. Now I felt like these needed some extra pizzazz. So instead of just putting to and from, I chose to put one of those little like embellishment snowflake clusters, small snowflake clusters at the bottom of this tag. And then I'm going to get a sentiment from that Altenew set. I think it says "A gift for you" in a like a really pretty scripty font, and I'm going to place that above that. And something to note here. So not all photopolymer stamps are the same depth, I guess you could say. And so the sentiment here is actually not as tall as the snowflakes. No, it's reversed. This is thicker than the, or higher, taller, however you want to say it, than the snowflakes. So when I stamp these down, I am very conscious of the fact that those snowflakes, I'm going to have to apply more pressure to that while not applying so much pressure to the sentiment that I blur the lines, that I blur the stamped image. I hope that makes sense. So if, in order to kind of alleviate this and not have to worry about that at all, stamp them separate. If you're using something that's from a different stamp set or a different company, just stamp them separate. I was lazy, and again, if you've watched any of the other videos, you know I'm under a time crunch lately with a 7-week-old and a 2-year-old, and so time is of the essence. And so I just stamped them both at the same time, just being conscious of where I was applying a lot of pressure and where I needed to kind of take it easy. So I'm going to be using some Delicata Golden Glitz or Gold Glitz ink today. So this is a pigment ink, and I wanted to kind of copy the gold embossing powder on the front, but I didn't want to have to gold heat emboss again, because inevitably when I gold heat emboss, this Paper Studio cardstock is thinner, and so it has a tendency to kind of warp. So I just wanted to use this pigment ink that I haven't used in like a coon's age. So it was very dry. So you are seeing here how I re-ink this particular pigment ink. I don't re-ink my oxide inks the same way. I don't feel like it's necessary, but to me these are a completely different consistency even than like my oxide inks. And so I feel like I have to kind of assist this, thus the, you know, Tim Holtz like scraper tool here. I feel like I have to assist this more than I do my oxides. And so all I did was squeeze out, I shook that re-inker bottle first, and then I squeezed out some going one direction and then the other, and then I used a flat tool. You could use an old credit card, an old gift card, what have you, to just kind of flatten it out and smooth it out over the surface and give it just a few minutes to kind of sink in a little bit. I really didn't give it as much time as I should have, but if you're not under as much of a time crunch or you think ahead, go ahead and let that sink in just a little bit longer. And all I'm taking is some stamp cleaner, what I would clean my stamps off with, spraying it on the front and the back of this little scraper tool here, and wiping it off with a paper towel. And that took most of that color off. It's not, there's still some like glittery bits in there, but not enough that it's gonna contaminate anything or leave residue and traces of it everywhere. So the next part, we're just going to go ahead and stamp that down. Again, being conscious that there's two different depths there. That one is my favorite. I think that is absolutely stunning. I think that kind of sagey green up at the top is my next favorite. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to find approximately the center of that snowflake and this big snowflake on the front, and then I'm going to punch a hole. I'm going to use my little CROP-A-DILE from We Are Memory Keepers, and I'm going to punch a hole in the top of this tag. I'm using the, I think it's a 1/4 inch hole punch, the bigger one. And I'm just going to punch a hole through both of these, and I'm kind of making sure they're stuck together, you know, they're not offset or you know, off kilter from one another. And I'm just going to punch a hole. And then this has like a little arm on it so you can set the depth. And so I found the depth that I wanted and then moved that arm up so that now I don't have to situate or reconfigure or rethink anything. I can just set these in there, punch a hole, and move on. So I'm going to punch all of these holes, and then we are going to do the eyelets. I wanted to do gold eyelets just to kind of keep with the gold theme, but I didn't have enough of the large gold eyelets. So I went with these kind of, I guess they're more silver than anything. I could have done white to match the white twine, but I didn't have enough of the white either. So we went with these. So all I'm going to do is set these in. I'm going to make sure that the front of these is in the front of the tag so that kind of the compressed side that kind of butterflies out or mushrooms out is going to be toward the back of the tag. And then I'm going to take my little CROP-A-DILE and I'm going to set it. And all you do is squeeze. These little nubbins kind of move apart, and you can set different things with it. And I just give it a squeeze and they're set. So we're going to set all of these, and then we're going to put some twine in here. This is twine from Paper Studio. All I'm doing is making a loop, opening up that loop, putting the loose ends of the twine through the loop, and then tying a knot at the top. And I'm going to repeat that for all of these tags, and then we will be done. If you wanted to, you could always write a person's name inside that open space. You could have put a gift for you in that open space right there. These would, when they're all done, said and done, they would make a nice like ornament for a tree. I just figure that these are going to be chucked once they're, you know, attached to a gift and the gift is opened, they're going to be chucked. So I didn't decide to spend a whole terrible lot of time on them, but I think they are really pretty anyway and would be a great addition to any gift. So that is it for me. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I hope you feel inspired, and I hope you feel the desire to give a Christmas in July gift to someone you know and care about. So thank you so much, and we will see you next time.